Good Friday morning. Welcome on in the morning. JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell alongside Conrad Van Order. We are one day away from the biggest game of the year. We are talking about the old shindig going down there in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. The Alabama Crimson Tide taking on the Georgia Bulldogs. Top 5 matchup. Another chapter in the already complex, well, I would say complex, but more dominant legacy for the Alabama-Georgia, I guess you'd say rivalry at this point. We know this is where this game has solidified championships. It's usually filled with a lot of guys that you'll be seeing on Sundays, and there's a lot of fanfare that go along with it. Now it's the Kalen DeBoer version of the Alabama Crimson Tide, so a lot of stuff to look forward to for Saturday. Of course, can see if Kirby Smart can get over the hump. Can he find a way to knock off the Alabama Crimson Tide to show that Georgia is at the top of the mountain? But y'all know how we do it on Fridays. It's Final Score Friday. You text in, you call in the final scores of these games. It's going to be interesting to see where this Alabama-Georgia matchup looks in the final score, in the box score for people that are reacting to it. And also Auburn and Oklahoma. As we get closer to kickoff, for both of these games, it seems like there's a heightened sense of anticipation, especially on the Alabama-Georgia matchup, because we know how big of a game this is. Conrad, are you gonna be down there in Tuscaloosa, or are you gonna try to keep it local?
No, I am. I'm going to be watching the game here, so I'm ready for Pat Landrum to accuse me of not being a real Alabama fan because I didn't want to sell a kidney so that I could go to a football game and get in my seat 4 hours early to accommodate the people that are going to be in attendance. So I think it'll be a great environment, and I I certainly wish I was going to the game.
Yeah.
All kidding aside, it'd be cool. But no, I will be watching it at home. Some of my friends are going out to watch it, and I was like, nope, I'm going to be sitting. I will be watching this one by myself because I could be very, very happy, or I could be very unpleasant to be around for about 3 hours.
Yeah, right.
But either way, re-ride. So I'm I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a great day of college football tomorrow, and
it will be.
You know, honestly, at this point, you might have to drive down to the Plains and play wide receiver for Oklahoma because
they ain't got
they don't have any right now. So that might you might be getting that phone call tomorrow.
Yeah, the availability report. It's sending wet shockwaves across college football. But if you look at what Oklahoma's injury list, it's pretty extensive, and primarily at the receiver position. Literally every one of their receivers, but I think one, is out. Not limited. We're talking about out of the game. Deion Burke, their everything receiver, out. So for the true freshman and Michael Hawkins Jr. making his first start in Jordan-Hare, he is going to be without a bevy of weapons. And that definitely changes how this game looks as far as what Oklahoma's already struggling to begin with those guys being healthy. I don't know what you're going to do offensively, because now it's asking a true freshman to literally look across an SEC defense, a team that's desperate for a win, and DJ Durkin-led defense of, okay, this is all we got. Like these are the weapons that I'm dealt with. And if you're Brent Venables, I really don't know offensively what you want this offensive game plan to be, because your offensive line was struggling anyway. And then on top of that, you have a bunch of receivers that are going to be out. And I mean, if you're Auburn, you got to lick your chops, because if you're going to get them, you better get them now.
Yeah, we'll make our picks for the weekend coming up in about 45 minutes or so, but I'll just go ahead and tell you right now. I mean, if there was ever a time it felt like to hammer the under on a football game, this might be one of those. I mean, we might be in peak, like, Iowa last year, where every week you just knew we're going under on the Iowa game. I feel incredibly confident about this being a pretty low scoring game in Auburn tomorrow, but it'll be it's I like that we get these availability reports now. Like, it is convenient to just kind of be able to go online and immediately have all of the injury information that we normally had to speculate on at this time in the week. But it is shocking because, I mean, if you just look at, the Oklahoma where you got 5 receivers that are listed as out. I don't know if you've seen the one for the Ole Miss and Kentucky game. About half of Ole Miss's roster is on their injury report, and it's just, but it's a lot of guys that are probable, but you have
Right.
to list them on there, and it's just kind of yeah, it's a formality, but it does give you some good insight. And um, while we're on the subject, if you go and look at the Alabama Georgia availability reports, Georgia, you're going to be without Tate Ratledge, maybe the best offensive lineman in the country, certainly one of the best guards in the country. Mikael Williams, arguably your best defensive player. He's still questionable, so that's something that is probably a little concerning for Kirby in Georgia. And then London Humphreys is going to be out. I think there's one other receiver for Georgia that's expected to miss the game tomorrow. And then for Alabama, it's the guys that you know about: Richard Young, Quay Russaw, and Jeremiah Alexander, all questionable, but seem to be trending in the right direction. So not injuries, we already kind of knew about Tate Ratledge and Mikael Williams, and those were kind of the big ones for this game. But it's certainly not like what you're looking at with Auburn and Oklahoma, because, there's a lot of people on that list for that game. But if you're an Auburn fan, the good news is it looks like, Xavier Miller looks like he's going to be back, which is good for you. And, it doesn't seem like Auburn's going to be too hampered by injuries. But, whew.
Oklahoma, boy.
Boy, Brent Venables is some people might be earning themselves a scholarship this weekend. They're going to have the opportunity to do so. I know that.
Yeah, and the way I look at this, the matchup between Auburn and Oklahoma, even going into before we had the availability reports and everything, it felt like this was, if there was ever a get right game for Auburn, this is the one that you need. And, I'm under the assumption that it's going to be Peyton Thorne making his, getting back his starting position at quarterback. And how fluid does he look? Does he look like he's thinking anymore? Does he truly feel like the position is his based off what we saw with Hank Brown against Arkansas last week? So the comfortability of Peyton behind center is going to be key. And you're expecting the receivers to be healthy. They're going to be fine. To me, and I will bang this drum till we just can't anymore. We need Jarquez Hunter to be tired at the end of the ball game tomorrow. At some point, I need him to start deflecting to Damari Austin, like, hey man, you got to get in there. I need a break. I need a tap. Like right now, I just need some water, need a shot. Because to me, you only gave him 12 touches in a game that you were down 7-0 at halftime, so it wasn't out of the realm possibility that you could continue to run the football. Maybe Auburn's offensive line just isn't that good. And I think we've kind of reached that point through 4 games of, if there is a quote-unquote liability of the offense, it's the offensive line and the inconsistency at quarterback. So to me, as long as you can get in front of somebody, and this Oklahoma defense is going to be stout in the front 7 for sure. You can ask Tennessee. Like they made Dylan Sampson earn every yard that he had. Now, he earned a lot of them, but he really had to ground and pound. You have a quality back in Jarquez Hunter that can do that. You can find a way to give him 20 touches, and it should, if I'm Hugh Freeze, I look down at my play sheet, and the first 10 scripted plays, Jarquez Hunter has to be in some sort of way within the first 7. I mean, just find a way, force it to him, feed it to him. You can get him on a swing pass. There are so many ways there's so many other options instead of just running him inside to make him effective. Because to me, 12 touches is unacceptable for Jarquez Hunter. If he has anything under 15, we're going to be preaching the same thing next week.
Yeah, that
I refuse.
I'm just imagining we're coming in here on Monday and you're looking at the box score and you got like 11 carries or something like that for Jarquez. Because I mean, you bring up Dylan Sampson and his numbers didn't blow you away. He wasn't averaging 7-8 yards a carry on the ground last week, but he had almost 100. And why was that? Because he had 24 carries. Like, I mean, Tennessee made it a point of emphasis that we are going to keep running the football because eventually we're going to wear you down.
Yep.
And, if you're Auburn and, like you're saying, if you just don't have the faith in the offensive line, I mean, I just feel like Jarquez is one of those guys that we've seen. I mean, last year, it's not like the offensive line was amazing, right? And there were plenty of times where he just, give me the ball and, he's gone. Like,
yep.
he can make things happen on a football field that, I don't really know how many other guys you have on that roster that are capable of the explosive plays that he is. And again, it's just so dumbfounding that you go from, and I understand the competition level is different, but you give him the most carries he's ever had in a game in his career. He rushes for 150 yards. You put up over 40 points on offense. And then the next week you look at that and go, let's not do that again. You know what worked really well last week? Let's not do that this week and lose the football. It's just, it is dumbfounding. And I sincerely hope that we are here on Monday. Even if it's an Auburn loss, we can look and say, they made some adjustments in the game plan, and they're getting closer, right? They're getting better. They are an improved product on the field.
Yep.
But at the same time, I think this is a volatile fan base right now, and you really need a win, and you really need some goodwill if you're Hugh Freeze. Because nobody wants excuses. No matter how the game goes, you want accountability, and you want to win with grace and lose with grace, and yeah, it's it's gonna be interesting tomorrow.
It is. The closer we get to kickoff, even with Oklahoma having all these injuries, it just feels just kind of everybody's just tense. It's what are we going to see from Auburn? And I think that's the biggest thing, because defensively, you played well enough to beat Arkansas. It was just your offense left a lot of meat on the bone for you. Now, can you just put 4 quarters together? Can you find one game besides New Mexico and Alabama A&M? Can you find one game where you put all 4 quarters together of smooth, high-level football and find a way to execute and find a way to win the ball game? If you're going to get them, it would be really embarrassing to lose to Oklahoma when they are depleted, especially on the offensive side, because they've shown they're not that good offensively. This is your chance, Auburn. This is your golden opportunity. It's not we play them 9 times, we beat them 9 times. You get 1. And you already have a wounded animal on the other side. You got to go in for the kill. You got to get it done. You have to. Auburn, it is imperative you get this win. So it's just buckle up, y'all. It's just buckle up. The whole SEC Saturday, you're going to be dialed in, because at 11 o'clock, you got Kentucky, Ole Miss. Of course, in the middle afternoon, you got Auburn, Oklahoma. Then the nightcap, the biggest game of the weekend, if not the entire season, Alabama and Georgia going down in T-Town. Y'all know how we go down on Fridays. It's Final Score Friday. You text in, you call in with your final score predictions for some games over the weekend. Do you think Alabama knocks off Georgia to continue their dominance in that rivalry? Do you think Auburn knocks off Oklahoma? Do you think Oklahoma comes in with all these injuries and still pulls off the upset? Who knows? We want to hear from you. 205-834-9450 on this Final Score Friday. Keep it locked on Morning Jocks and Jocks 94.5. 6:17 here on Morning Jocks, Jocks 94.5. Damian Mitchell alongside Conrad Van Order. And of course, you, our wonderful listeners, and we appreciate each and every one of you. 205-834-9450 on this final score Friday, and they are coming on in on the Jocks text line. Bobby texts in. He's got Georgia knocking off Alabama 34-17. LSU beating South Alabama 55-14. Sweet Jesus. Arkansas knocking off Texas A&M 31-24. Oh boy. Oklahoma gets the 1 out of 10 win over Auburn 17-10. So he's a little he's confident. I didn't expect Georgia. Now Georgia beats Alabama by 17. Now we're definitely going to have some discussions on Monday. And there's probably going to be an upset Conrad on Monday as well.
Yeah, that would not be good. That would actually be very bad.
Yeah. That's the only way.
I don't see that game getting that sideways. Either way.
Either way, right.
It's always possible.
I'm with you, man. Chris texted in. He's got Oklahoma 17, Auburn 7, and he also has Alabama knocking off Georgia 35-24. Okay. All right, G texted in. He says 34-24 Bama. Hollywood makes states his case for the best receiver in the nation and starts his Heisman campaign. Georgia don't have anybody on the back end that can cover him. Okay. All right. Roll tide to that. Mike from Hayden texted. He's got Alabama knocking off Georgia 28-24, and he's got Auburn in a nail biter against Oklahoma 14-12. I will say this: if Auburn only scores 14 points, then we're going to have the real discussion of one, that Hugh Freeze offense has regressed, because to me, if you're going to fire Brian Harsin and hire Hugh Freeze to fix the offense, and you only score 14 points in situations like this, it's okay. Well, the scheme isn't working.
What if Auburn scores more than 25? Then can we talk about Auburn having a better offense than Tennessee?
Let's not. No.
Oh, I just didn't know if it worked both ways or not.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
That would have been a fun conversation.
No, it would not. No, it would not, because it's not real. It does that does not exist.
Well, I'm just saying we have one common opponent to go with, and if Auburn scores more than 25 points, then I mean,
no. But good pull though.
Numbers don't lie.
I like where your head's at, brother. I like you. I'm familiar with your game.
I don't think the numbers lie.
I am familiar with your game, boy. You almost got the blood pressure up on that one.
Why? You're an Alabama fan, clearly, based on the shirt you're wearing today. So that shouldn't have bothered you at all.
No, my Heifel discipleship is in the blood. Yeah, it's in the blood.
Yeah, no, it makes the fact that you're wearing that shirt just. What you gonna do? And so it goes. That brother don't miss. Brandon from Tuscaloosa texted in. He's got Ole Miss knocking off Kentucky 51-17. Arkansas defeating Texas A&M 24-21. Texas over Mississippi State 59-10. Oh my God. Georgia knocking off Alabama 31-28, and Auburn knocking off Oklahoma 24-20. So that's exactly how we do it on this Final Score Friday. We want to hear from you. 205-834-9450. Let's go to the phone lines. All right, War Damn Don. The show is yours.
Okay, buddy. Here we go. Auburn 21-17.
Okay.
And Georgia 24-21.
Okay.
And also too, the guy about Ole Miss. I actually think that Kentucky is going to give Ole Miss the game. I think Ole Miss will win the game, but not by much. But guys, I don't know if you've seen the Auburn line, but it's gone from Auburn being a 2.5 point underdog to a 1 point favorite. So that's telling you something out in Vegas.
Yeah, all those injuries.
I was about
man.
to say, it's telling you that
roster.
Oklahoma doesn't have a wide receiver that can walk right now.
Well, hey, Conrad, look, I hate anybody getting hurt and everything, but if they're going to miss the game, I have no problem with them missing this one, okay?
Yeah, I feel
you better take advantage of it and win.
Well, guys, right now, I'll take a win. I'd take I wouldn't take a 3-2 game, but I'd take a 17-16 game because that's one of my favorite scores, as we know.
Well, we'll see how it plays out for you, Don.
Well, guys, y'all have a great weekend, and everything. And appreciate you guys. I always enjoy calling, guys. Thank you for what you do, fellas.
Hey, we appreciate you, buddy. Let's go to Larry. Who wants to talk some Week 5 matchups? What's going on, Larry?
Guys, enjoy the show always. I want to ask your opinions and deep, insightful information from both of you guys. Obviously, Conrad, I'm rocking and rolling with my Crimson Tide, but I don't feel good about this game for one reason only. The reason I say that is because Michigan and South Florida gave the actual blueprint on how to beat Alabama. Keep the man Milroe inside the box, tackle boxes, but I just think that our offense has kind of been generic so far this year. Do you think it's going to be a wide open game, Conrad, as far as offensively, or I just want both of you guys' opinion, and I really do believe too that the Tennessee Oklahoma game. Tennessee didn't. Well, they threw the ball a few times, but they ran the ball most of the time. So I'm just asking, guys. That's all I'm gonna say, and hang up. Listen.
Appreciate the call, Larry. Yeah, as far as Alabama goes, I mean, if you mean open offensively, like it's going to be a shootout, that's not what I would expect this game to look like. I think it's going to be all of the cliches that you can throw out about the Alabama and Georgia matchups, where it's going to come down to the play in the trenches. I think it's going to be lower scoring, and I think it's probably going to look somewhat similar to the SEC championship game last year, where it's just someone's grinding it out at the end and barely holding on for a win. And I think as far as the offensive line goes, though, I do think so. The USF game, obviously dealing with injuries, having to move guys around, and it wasn't particularly pretty. And the same thing in the the Rose Bowl last year against Michigan, where you had some guys that were banged up. Caden Proctor was struggling at the end of last year. And dealing with injuries, and it was ugly early on in that game, but they kind of came together in the second half. And again, I mean, it came down to the last play of the game. So while I think we can all agree that there are areas the offensive line can get better, I'm expecting them to look more like the unit we saw against Wisconsin a couple weeks ago, when everybody was healthy and they looked like one of the better offensive lines in college football. So that's my expectation for Larry.
Yeah. And I mean, to me, Georgia has to be aware of the big play, because I do think Alabama is good enough to sustain drives against this Georgia defense. But also it can be that one sudden 2nd and 10, boom, all of a sudden, Ryan Williams over the top or something like that. But I'm expecting it kind of to be like the SEC championship as well, where it's going to be some punches thrown, a couple jabs here, but somebody's going to have that final knockout blow there at the end where it's okay. Now we're starting to see. And also, I think Alabama's run game is more effective than what Georgia's has been so far this season, because between Jam and Justice, I think that you can lean on both of those. But Jalen Milroe as a pretty much another running back takes them up another level, because, all right, say if the play breaks down, he's fast enough to outrun anybody on the football field and strong enough to, hey, if I got to lower my shoulder, what's happening? Like, I'm here too. So I think that the earlier on that Alabama can really establish a run game is going to benefit them in the later runs, kind of like a Derrick Henry situation, where late in the fourth quarter, when it's time to put the nail in the coffin, they start, those 2 to 3 yard gains start to turn into 7 and 8 yard gains early downs, and it starts to wear on you a good bit, and it opens up the play action for all those weapons that you have at the receiver position to really take over when their number's called.
Yeah, and I think this game it can, and it probably will have to look a little bit different than maybe what we've seen from Alabama offensively the first few weeks. And what I mean by that is you're going to have to sustain drives, right? Like, because up to this point, Alabama hasn't really had to do that because they've been, better than the opposition. A lot of the time they're going out there, you're getting a 3 and out or something, or, they're scoring within 3 or 4 plays of a drive. And, you certainly, if you can do that against Georgia, that's great. But there's going to be points in that game where you want to control the time of possession and you need a 10 play, 6-minute drive, maybe to close out the half or something like that. And how well can Alabama do that? Because we just haven't had to see them do that. Doesn't mean that they can't. We just haven't had to see that. And that goes to what you're talking about with the running game and, being able to get those 3-4 yard runs and just not Jalen Milroe not making decisions that are putting you in, 2nd and 17s or 3rd and 14s and those kind of situations that can really stall a drive, but just moving the ball forward. And I think we'll have to see a little bit of a different look for the Alabama offense tomorrow. But hey, that's what these games are all about, man. Who can make the adjustments and who can line them up toe to toe? Because I think we would agree that talent wise, it's about as even as it gets in these kinds of games. It's just, you versus your guy and who can win that battle more consistently on the field.
Absolutely. Of course, Final Score Friday, all you got to do, send us your final scores, and like a lot of people have done, and it's kind of all over the place. I will say that we got a couple people saying that Georgia's going to knock off Alabama. We have one guy who says, okay, hold on, it just refreshed. Yeah, we got Steven said he's got Georgia beating Alabama 38-31 in overtime.
Okay. Well, that'd be a good game.
Oh yeah. It's gonna be loud. I can imagine that one. We've got a couple. Yeah, we got Bobby who texted in. He says Alabama 28, Georgia 23. He's got Oklahoma knocking off Auburn 17-9. Joseph texted in. He's got Ole Miss knocking off Kentucky 31-17. Oklahoma knocking off Auburn 23-17. Arkansas dropping it to Texas A&M 38-27. He's got Texas over Mississippi State 45-10. LSU over South Alabama 38-20. And Georgia knocking off Alabama 34-20. Braxton from Bessemer, he texted in and says Bama over Georgia 35-28. Oklahoma over Auburn 17-14. He says he's looking for Jam and Justice and Jalen to run wild against that Georgia defense. That's how we get down here on Final Score Friday. Let's squeeze in one more call. Let's go to AG, who wants to give some score predictions this morning. What's going on this morning, AG?
What's going on, Richard? Good morning. Love the show.
Man, we appreciate it, big dog.
I like to say Alabama going to roll tomorrow. It's going to be 38-17.
Okay.
No worries. No worries whatsoever.
Hey, roll tide, brother. We appreciate that. Simple like that. Conrad, you'll be happy for a 38-34 victory.
A win is a win. They can win 3-0. I don't care. Just win.
We've got Donnie who texted in and says Alabama over Georgia 28-17. And he's got Oklahoma 31, Auburn 21. So that's how we do it here on Morning Jocks on Fridays. Final Score Fridays. You tell us who is going to win these games. And we have a special guest joining us after the break. We get a chance to hear and break down and talk some more ball. So keep it locked right here on Morning Jocks and Jocks 94.5. Oh boy. I dig.
What's that last one?
FCC won't let me say it.
No, I think the last one's in Tennessee too.
Yeah, that too. What about it?
Oh, you didn't want to say that?
No.
That
I
part.
know the words. I'm familiar. Come on, man. You know I'm a big Alabama guy. Huge Alabama guy.
Who you
Come
going
on,
to be
man.
pulling for in a few weeks?
Welcome back in the morning, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell alongside Conrad Van Order. And we have a special guest hopping on the Buyers Right hotline with us all the way from the great city of Birmingham, Alabama. We have Lyndon Blake of WBRC Channel 6 and somebody that I share a broadcast team with there for Sanford. So, Lyndon, I understand you are an Auburn alum, so I asked you to be as objective as possible. But in all seriousness, how do you think this game is going to go between Auburn and Oklahoma this weekend?
You know what's kind of sad is I think I've watched more minutes of Oklahoma games this season than Auburn just because of the way things have lined up with timing and like other commitments. So don't hate me, Auburn people. I still love you. Okay, I've been intrigued about this matchup since it got announced, years ago, welcoming the Sooners to town. It reminds me of when Texas A&M first joined the SEC, and a bunch of my friends and I went out there to College Station, and it was the first time we played since they've been in the conference. And it was kind of just a welcome party, Like, I hope the Sooners fans love Auburn, love Jordan Hare, and feel so welcome. I know the betting lines have Auburn as a slight favorite, but I don't know. I feel like the momentum, even though Oklahoma lost to Tennessee, that spark that Michael Hawkins gave that offense and that big run that he had, and, they're putting him on the QB1 slot this week, it makes me nervous for this Auburn team who just feels lost and keeps making mistakes and hurting themselves. Right?
Yeah, and that's the thing because one, he's a true freshman, so he's making his first start on the road. But I agree with you 100% that even when he came in, it gave Oklahoma a little bit more of a spark. But I look at more of the Oklahoma defensive side of, all right, if Auburn is already having some issues, this isn't the defense that you – right, yeah. Go ahead.
That's tough, too, going up against this defense, the best one they've seen all season. And you're doing self-inflicted wounds on offense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if Thorne or Brown is going to get the start. If I am an Auburn fan, which I am, so if you're asking me who I would want to start, as crazy as it sounds after, the back-to-back turnovers last week and everything and getting benched, I think I'm still going to go with Hank Brown. I'm going to give him a second. I am. He came in against Arkansas too confident, hot-headed, saying he was going to beat them, doing everything you're not supposed to do, getting your first start, and probably had some jitters, made some mistakes. But I don't know. Like, I feel like the Auburn fan base, it gets to makes me feel like, I don't know, when, like, Barrett Trotter was playing for Auburn, when you just kind of got like, okay, we're still going with this guy. Like, I feel, even though, I don't know, I just feel like they need to go with Hank Brown. I feel like if Peyton Thorne starts, it's going to be like, what do we expect? Are we insane? Are we expecting a different outcome? We've gone with him for 2 seasons. Like, people are saying he's not the answer. What are we doing? Shouldn't have been the answer going into this year. So, but I don't know. I mean, it's the quarterback. It's Auburn's nemesis right now. You have such good receivers. You have an offensive line that's putting it together. You put money into it. And it's just like, why can we not find a quarterback? Has it been almost a decade of truly not having, Bo Nix aside, because we all know that went down in flames. The whole thing, I don't know really what happened, but to me, it's like, have we not felt confident in our quarterback position since Nick Marshall?
Yeah, it will have been a minute for Auburn fans, but that actually, Lyndon, that actually kind of sets up my next question beautifully. So I want you to answer, when I ask you this, I want you to answer this as an Auburn fan, like you just said.
Okay.
At this point, what is your impression of Hugh Freeze? And I think, and part of that being, this guy was brought in here to be this offensive genius, this kind of quarterback whisperer, and turn that side
Mhm.
of the ball around for Auburn. Here we are, as you were just talking about with the Peyton Thorne, Hank Brown situation. I know it's only been a couple years, but through the first, I guess year and a half of Hugh Freeze's time there on the Plains, just what's your impression of Hugh Freeze? Are you still confident that he has this program headed in the right direction?
I want to give a little coach speak. I'm married to a track coach, and we look at everything. Are you making progress? Are you moving forward? And the Cal loss, to me, if you're looking at it as an Auburn fan, if you're looking at the quarterback position, if you're looking at Hugh Freeze's second season, what do you want to see? You want to see progress. And that loss to Cal was a step back. I have to be honest, when Hugh Freeze got hired, I wasn't excited about the hire. I like him. I have been around his family, and this is nothing personal. I've talked to him many times since he's taken over the program down at Lake Martin, but I think you want him to do kind of what he did with Malik Willis at Liberty when Malik left Auburn. You want to see him take a quarterback, develop him into a playmaker and into a leader on that team. And I just feel like what have we improved on? Like, you already had last season where you could say Thorne was not the answer. You go with him again, and you're in the same boat that you were when you took the Auburn job. So that's not what you want to see. And you want to, like, on the flip side, you have Oklahoma, who, when Brent Venables took over from his first season to second season, he made improvement. He made a big jump. So I don't know. It's hard because it's the situation you're in, and it could be worse. But we need, it's week 5 now. You have 4 games under your belt. Doesn't get any easier. You're about to go on the road for 5 weeks and won't be back home till November. But you have got to see that progress. So I think we were Auburn fans really excited about that receiver room. Shout out Malcolm Simmons, Elliott City's finest. You've got to improve the quarterback play. You've got to start giving fans that assurance, that confidence that progress is being made and Auburn's moving forward in that department.
All right, Lyndon, we appreciate you hopping on with us. Let's talk about the Alabama-Georgia matchup. As somebody, again, you are an Auburn fan, so please put the bias aside. How do you feel about this Georgia and Alabama matchup?
I can put the bias aside. I'm excited about this one. I'm a news girly too, so there is this thing called Hurricane Helene that hit last night. It has been devastating for the state of Georgia. We've covered it all morning. Water rescues in Atlanta, 12.5 inches of rain in Augusta. The team stayed last night in Athens, and the plan is to fly. I don't know how they're going to, I don't know. Maybe Athens is better, but I've been thinking about that this morning. Is they're going on the road to Tuscaloosa, already going to be a challenge. Alabama has the upper hand when they face off, besides the national championship in Indy. And now you have this huge factor that we don't know at this point at 6:43 in the morning how it's going to affect travel. Kirby Smart said they're going to wake up, continue to check the forecast and stuff. But I would say right now going in, obviously Alabama has the edge, and I think the Tide comes out on top. The last time they had this big, pomp and circumstance around the game where you had then President Trump coming was back in 2019 when they played LSU, and then LSU won. A lot of eyes were on that game. This is the game of the year. I think the Tide get it done in T-Town. I'm so excited. The SEC championship was so good last year. I can't wait. I love when they play each other.
All right, so this is what we do on Fridays. We call it Final Score Friday. So you have to give me a final score for both Auburn and Oklahoma and Alabama, Georgia. How does Lyndon's box score look?
Okay, I have only gotten one prediction right in my entire life. I suck at this game, but let's keep it low scoring for Auburn, Oklahoma. Let's go Auburn 24, Oklahoma 21. Let's say Auburn finds a way at home to get it done. The thing about Auburn, this could be the week where they get all the fans back on their high because you lost to Arkansas, you lost to Cal. Oh, but we beat Oklahoma. Like, we're good. You know what I'm saying? It's just how, the cookie crumbles sometimes there on the plains. I think for Alabama, Georgia, going to be more of a high-scoring affair. This one makes me excited. Let's go Bama. I may be like, this may be like insane, but let's go Bama 35, and let's go Georgia. Let's go 30.
Okay, that's reasonable. I think it's fair.
What do you think? You think that's fair?
Yeah, I think it's very realistic. Now, we've gotten some scores in here that are kind of all over the place.
I want Georgia to win. Like, let's be real. But I can be outside. But let's be real. I'm going to be transparent with everyone here in Birmingham.
I got you. Linda, we appreciate your time. We appreciate you hopping on with Morning Jocks. I know it's an early morning call for you. I know you got a lot of things planned ahead for you in this morning, but we appreciate you carving out some time and talking some ball with us.
Love y'all.
Love
Available
you too.
anytime.
Absolutely.
All right,
I'll see you. Lance Lynn and Blake from WBRC Fox 6 on the Buyers Right hotline for all your insurance and financial and HR needs. It's Buyers Right Insurance, a Higginbotham partner. We see you on hold. We want to make sure we get to your final scores, but we also got to give you some picks on the other side. So keep it locked for Morning Jocks and Jocks 94.5. Yes, sir. You know what that means. Time to make some picks, baby. Welcome back in the morning, JOX 94.5, Damian Mitchell, alongside Conrad Van Order on this Final Score Friday here on Morning JOX. Hopefully everybody's having a good time because we got a showdown in T-Town between Alabama and Georgia. Of course, Auburn taking on Oklahoma, a host of other games as well. But we know that the focus of college football will be here in the state of Alabama. Let's go to the phone lines real quick before you give us some picks, because I want to hear some score predictions from these fellas. Let's go to 808 in Chelsea. Wants to talk some ball with us. 808, what's going on, big dog?
Hey, man, what y'all smoking this morning? Dope or dog food?
Neither, man. We got to keep our jobs.
Man, Georgia finna put a 20-piece lemon pepper chicken this weekend on Bama.
No, not in T-Town.
In T-Town.
Now, you really think Georgia's going to beat Alabama by 20?
But Kirby been waiting all year for this win. He ain't had. That's all his focus been on. He ain't been stirring Kentucky. He been stirring nobody all year. His eyes on Tuscaloosa, and I can't wait to call him Monday and say, Damien, cash out be my money.
Hey, we shall see. 808 says Georgia beating Alabama by 20, and Kirby's been waiting.
Kirby's had a lot of time to brew over Alabama because he's doesn't like to beat them. So
yeah, exactly. PG, Pelham Gator on with us this morning. PG, what's going on?
Well, man, I've been up all night worried about my city, Tampa, with the hurricane. So I figured, hey, I'm going to call you guys, finally relaxing some. My scores are, you're going to like this, Conrad. I'm taking Bama to beat Georgia 28-24. And I'm taking, and Don ought to be happy, I'm taking Auburn to beat Oklahoma 24-21.
There we go.
All right. I like it, PG.
Hey, make sure, your family and everybody's safe down there, though? Everybody's good?
Yeah, just a lot of flooding in Tampa and storm surge and all that, but they're good. And, I'm going to miss, I know I go up to Cedar Keys a lot, so they got hit hard. So, it's my Floridians, I'm praying for you.
Absolutely. We all are, man. PG, we appreciate you hopping on. And, of course, our buddy Hastings. Hastings says he's going to be quick with his score prediction, so we're going to see. What's going on this morning, big dog?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Hey, yeah, going to be quick. I mean, you talk about the travel issues with Georgia. You talk about Bama getting their offensive line healthy. I think you got the upper hand at quarterback, and Georgia's run defense has struggled. And we got two really great running backs. So give me the Dogs 27-20. I think they're going to go in there and they're going to beat Alabama. So
what? Hastings.
You had me in. This is the one you had me in the first half, dog. You pulled a fast one.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm telling you, I got a weird feeling, had a dream about it last night. So I'm going to take the Dogs. I hope I'm wrong. But
oh, Lord.
Roll Tide anyway. Hey, good talking to you guys.
Hey, you too, brother. Oh, boy.
I don't like that. Hastings having visions coming to him in the middle of the night about Georgia beating Alabama. Ooh.
And he's a known Bama fan.
Oh, I know.
We know he's a Bama fan.
I know. But all the reasons he gave were pro-Alabama.
Man, what? He had me. He had a build-up, and then he's like, oh, yeah, I think the Dogs going to win 23-17. Whoa. Okay. Woo. Let's give some picks, man. Actually, let's just do it for the games here in the state. Auburn, Oklahoma. Auburn now is creeped up to being a 1-point favorite at home.
Under.
Over set at 45.
Under. That's the easy pick in this game. I understand if you have a strong conviction one way or the other, by all means follow that. But
pound the under.
I mean, we have no idea what we're getting from Auburn. And Oklahoma is, all right, you got a freshman quarterback. It could either be good or really, really ugly. He has nobody to throw it to. I mean, I'm not going to be surprised legitimately if this game is, I think 17-14 would be a good score. Like, I would not be surprised if you get a 14-10 kind of game.
Who do you think wins? Auburn, Oklahoma.
I'm taking the under.
Oh, interesting.
I mean,
interesting. Never known you to be the one to deflect.
I know that's normally you. I'm going to be honest. My gut all week has been that this is the kind of game that Auburn finds a way to win after what happened last week.
Mm-hmm. Just go what you got, dog.
I will take my official pick is the under, but if I have to take a side, I will go with Auburn.
I got you. Barely. I agree with you. I think Auburn wins the football game. This is the get right. This is the get right.
I don't think it's going to be pretty.
No, and you just need a win. But we know the biggest game of the century is happening in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Georgia now just a 1-point favorite against the Crimson Tide. Conrad, over under set at 49 in the hook. I just want to know, who you taking, Alabama or Georgia?
Yeah, no, I've had the same thought for most of the week. I think Alabama wins a close one. I think it's 27-24. I think it looks fairly similar to what we saw last year. I think the offensive line steps up and Jalen Milroe is the better quarterback and you win.
I wore a Georgia shirt on Tuesday, wearing an Alabama shirt.
I was about to say, where are you at?
And my thoughts on this game haven't changed pretty much since Monday. I got Alabama winning. I say 34-24. I think I think it's one of those games that it's a heavyweight fight, but Alabama pulls it out a little bit, stretching there at the end. So give me Alabama. Roll Tide. Back in Cuba in the morning. They're next.